Alright, so what's going on, guys? My name is Muffles and welcome to the channel. Today I'm going to be going over my first impressions of the Black Ops 7 Zombies beta. And first things first, Black Ops 7 Zombies is very much like Black Ops 6 Zombies. And I don't think that that's like the most terrible thing in the world, but at the same time, it is a little bit disappointing. And before I get into that, I just want to go over some things that I like and some things that I don't like just to kind of set up where this video is going. So first things first, this game is very similar to BO6 like I said before, but it does have some quality of life improvements that I quite enjoy. Reducing the salvage drop rate really helps a lot in this game. It kind of incentivizes you to go for the mystery box instead of just focusing on the weapon that you spawn in with, because it seems that salvage drops at a lower rate, but it's not like a significantly lower rate. But I found that it takes me at least, I'd say 10 more rounds ish to completely max out my gun to gold rarity. Because in BO6 I remember getting my gun fully maxed out, I think around round 24, 25, maybe 30 if I'm kind of spending my salvage on other things, or if you happen to take it down and need to buy a self-revive or something like that. But usually you land right in there, like right around 25, 26. And in this game, I wasn't getting my loadout gun to max rarity until like around 35 or 36. So it is just about 10 rounds later, as far as I remember, which I think is a good thing, because there was one match that I played where I jumped in and I wasn't really liking the gun that I spawned in with in the first place. But that incentivized me to hit the box, because I knew that if I got a gun that was higher rarity, I wouldn't have to waste so much salvage getting that gun maxed out. So just because of that, it incentivized me to try to use a different gun. My issue with this, though, is that when the full game comes out, everyone's going to be grinding camos. They're not going to be playing this map like it's a survival map from Black Ops 2, you know? They're going to be jumping into this map and grinding camos. So nobody's going to hit the box for those reasons. Like, no one's going to play this map as a survival map, if that makes sense. They're going to use it as a camo grinding landscape, and they're going to get their camos done. Because I know this, because this is exactly what I'm going to do. And if you guys watch my Terminus video, you know that I'm not like a super big fan of camo grinding. But obviously, you know, everyone's going to do it. I'm going to do it. So yeah, I think pretty much this map is not going to play like a survival map when you really think about it. So nobody is going to be doing that. No one's going to be hitting the box to get new guns. It's just not going to be a thing. Everyone's going to stick with their loadout weapon like they have been doing. But another thing that kind of sets this off a little bit is you can get ether tools out of the mystery box. And I don't know if I got gameplay of this or not. I might not have been recording when this happened to me. But you can get ether tools out of the box, and that alone still incentivizes you to hit the box, even if it's super rare. But I'd say it's no more rare than getting a ray gun or something like that out of the box. So hitting the box overall seems to be going in a good direction in Black Ops 7, which I very much like. But yeah, at the end of the day, this map really does just accomplish its purpose, in my opinion. Like, it's nothing special. It's no small story map like Liberty Falls, you know. It's straight up just surviving and doing camos. So you take Liberty Falls and strip away all the stuff that hardcore Easter egg hunters like, and you get this map. And I'd say in general, I think it accomplishes what it set out to do. Alright guys, editing Muffles coming in just for a second. One little point I forgot to put in here during my initial recording. I think that high rounds have been improved greatly. You're not going to be getting a whole bunch of special zombies or anything like that until later in the rounds. I think it took me till like round 40 for a doppelgas to start spawning in. So yeah, not the biggest issue in the world ever. And as much as I wish that special enemies were entirely new in this game, I'm completely okay with the double gas coming back. It's not like the biggest issue to me in the world, but I am just so grateful that we are not getting boss spammed as hard as we were in Black Ops 6. And as far as like actual training strats and high rounding goes, I think it's so much better. It feels so much more like classic zombies. You can stand up there on the hay bale or whatever that is. I think it's like a little trough or a truck or something like that in front of the saw trap. And that just adds so much to this experience, and it really does make it feel like how old zombie survival used to be. So for me, that is one of the biggest improvements. You can actually train into the 50s now. I know, it's crazy, and you're not getting completely annihilated by manglers. And just for a sec, while we're on this topic of special enemies, I just want to say the new zombie bear Zursa is a very good addition to this map in my opinion. I'm not fully understanding the mechanics behind the bear yet. I do think that he causes some type of bleed damage to you if you end up caught in some of the bees that he shoots at the ground, but you can see them fly at you. Like, they shoot out, and you can shoot them before they land near you, and you actually have to be walking in the spot that he shot for it to do anything to you. Overall, I think the bear aesthetically is very pleasing. I think it's a very cool looking enemy, and that can go for this entire mode. But as far as mechanics go, I don't think the bear functions too differently from how the other bosses have functioned in the past. But I will put this above like the Mangler or even like the Uberklaus from Reckoning. So I do think it is still an improvement. And overall, I think it adds a lot to the vibe of this map, and I know it's definitely going to add a lot to the vibe of Ashes of the Damned when we get that. So yeah, that was it for my brief little segment. I had to add that in here. Right back to Past Me. Now, as far as my overall dislikes about this map, I will say wall jumping in general, like within the game itself, in zombies, I think could be utilized a bit more. You can do it, like you can run it around and wall jump and stuff, but I just don't find it too useful. Like, I find it no more useful than having omni movement in the game, if that makes sense. It's not like a significant thing that's going to completely change the way the game is, and that's kind of unfortunate in my opinion. Like, I really think that Treyarch should have doubled down on the advanced movement in this game, and this goes for multiplayer as well, but I think especially in zombies, because even if you look back at BO3 with the wall running mechanics on Shadows of Evil and Revelations, they were there, but it wasn't like a super big part of the map. But I think this game, BO7, could really take that to the next level. So if you are standing on the hay bale outside of the barn, you can clearly jump into the window, but you just have to have the door open for you to jump up there. And that's such a shame to me, because I think that it would be such a cool thing to be able to leave that door shut and still jump into the top of the barn. I think in general that would be such a cool thing to have in this game. I don't know why there's invisible barriers on stuff before you open doors. I just find that to be kind of annoying in my opinion. Like, I can see that it could cause some issues with glitch spots and stuff like that, but I mean, they could patch stuff if it comes to that. You know what I mean? Just allow us to be able to make jumps like that. Like, I don't see why not. To me, it just gives me the vibe of like Nocturne Totem, for example, how you got the people who buy the door straight into the box room, and then there's the people that buy the staircase up into the top floor and then down into the box room. It just kind of gives you that player choice, like keeping this door closed can help you optimize an area that you're trying to work in. And I think that would work so well in BO7, and it's just super, like, disappointing to me that they didn't think about this beforehand. Another thing I dislike about the beta so far is weapons to me seem a bit underpowered, and I don't know if that's just because I don't have augments on the perks or something like that. And, like, obviously I don't have attachments unlocked for all these weapons yet, but I was max rank when I started playing this. I had spent the entire day before in multiplayer, so I had plenty of guns leveled up, just not everything. And the weapons to me still felt a bit underpowered, and that does kind of help the survival aspect of the game to me. Because if it felt super easy from the get-go, you'd never feel like you had a need to survive, so I could see why that would take away the survival aspect of the map. But at the same time, I could see it being just a little bit more, because there was times where my gun was just felt like it was absolute trash, and especially the shotguns for some reason. Over the past few zombie games, shotguns have been the meta, and I'm not saying that's necessarily a bad thing to switch up the meta, because I like to use ARs and LMGs and stuff like that too. But to have a shotgun feel so underpowered just feels really weird to me. Like, I straight up didn't even want to use the shotguns anymore because of how trash they felt, and it's super hard to get headshots. Like, it's not good for gaining points, which, you know, does call back to old zombies, but it just does it in such a wrong way when you don't have the old point system. So it feels weird to me for them to be so bad. So that's like my one complaint about the weapons. All of them, but especially shotguns, feel extremely underwhelming. But my number one complaint so far about this is definitely the HUD. Like, I genuinely don't know why this is even still a discussion. Last year, the HUD was such a big deal when we were going into BO6, and I just don't get why this is still a thing. Like, why are we spawning in with the multiplayer HUD? I have heard them saying stuff about bringing back legacy HUDs, like the ones from Black Ops 3, like specifically the Shadows of Evil one, and the one from all of the premise maps. So every other map in the game other than Shadows of Evil. And I definitely think that that is a good thing to have in the game. Like, I will take the BO3 HUD over this, for sure. I'll take the BO3 HUD over any HUD we've ever seen as far as new zombies goes. But I just don't get why they can't just make a new HUD that fits the theme of the mode. I don't understand why that's such a daunting task for them to overcome, because we've been complaining about it for years now, and to me it just kind of feels so old for them to not have gotten this correct. So yeah, to me it's starting to feel like such an old story that should have been dealt with long ago. Like, I genuinely don't know why this is even a discussion in the game. And as far as other HUD mechanics go, I find it weird that you can't set the opacity for certain things, because when I first start in a zombies match, I like to keep my minimap turned on at least, with the opacity turned down to where I can barely see it, just so I can kind of get my bearings the first time I play through a map. And also just to see what area I'm in and what it's called, so I can make callouts and tell people where I'm at and stuff like that. At least the first few matches into the games until I get it down, and then I can disable it entirely. But I just find it weird that those options were there in BO6 and they're not here in the beta. But maybe they're going to be in the game when the game comes out. I'm not sure. We'll just have to wait and see. But that to me seems like a weird digression. So I hope they get that sorted out before the full release of the game. And the last point that I want to make here for overall to kind of conclude my thoughts here. I remember back when BO3 was over, and we had the little dry period with Infinite Warfare, and then I believe BO4 came out after that. I could be missing a game in there or something, but BO3 ended, and then BO4 came out. That's the timeline. I remember then people were very concerned about BO4 being too similar to BO3, and I remember that being like a main complaint people were saying. Like, they're like, no, I don't want to play another year of BO3. I want to play Black Ops 4. I want it to be a new experience. I want new mechanics. I want new stuff. And I always thought that narrative was weird, because to me, I always felt the complete opposite about that. Like, a Black Ops 3 Year 2 sounded like the perfect decision to make, in my opinion. And that's exactly what I expected out of BO4. And I think subconsciously, that's what everyone expected out of BO4. And then when we didn't get that, it threw everybody off, and it became one of the biggest disasters ever. So now, to me, BO6 being extremely similar to BO7, and it being like a direct sequel and just a continuation of BO6, makes sense to me. It almost feels like a direct response to the criticism going from BO3 to BO4. And I don't know, I think that overall, I just think the marketing is what is really killing it. I don't think that BO7 should have ever been marketed as a new game. I think they would have been way better off if they just announced a year 2 of Black Ops 6, and this is what we got. As far as zombies goes, that would make way more sense to me. And I don't know if you guys feel the same way, please let me know. But to me, this is just a year 2 of Black Ops 6, and this is exactly what I was wanting back in Black Ops 3. So I have a hard time being super upset about it. I know that everyone's gonna say like it needs to be a new game, needs to be new mechanics and stuff like that, and to an extent I agree with you, but as far as my opinion goes, I do believe that this is exactly what I've wanted in the past, and to be having it presented to me now, I just feel like I'd be kind of doing it a disservice if I didn't give it a shot. So I think in general, BO7 just really falls apart with its marketing. It should have never been marketed as a new separate game, because in essence, it is a DLC. I think we all need to, get that straight. It's not really a new game as far as zombies goes. You can make a good argument for campaign and multiplayer, because in my opinion, as much of the multiplayer that I've played, it feels entirely different to me than Black Ops 6 did. And that's just because of the wall jumping and the setting and the weapons and stuff like that. But to me, zombies specifically just feels like a direct continuation of BO6, and that's exactly how they've marketed it to be. I think we are feeling how we're supposed to be feeling at the end of the day. Treyarch were the ones who created it this way. If you look at the end of BO6, the Reckoning cutscene is literally the intro cutscene to Ashes of the Damned. So it is a direct continuation, and as far as I'm concerned, I'll say this again, it is just a year 2 of Black Ops 6. And I just have a hard time being upset with that. So yeah, so as far as Black Ops 7 goes, I think we are in for a decent year. If it is just Black Ops 6 with better maps, man, I'm looking forward to it. Like the survival maps, obviously from the beta, they're going to be whatever. They're there for the camel grind, and they're there just to mess around and have a good time in the little sandbox. But Ashes of the Damned is like the main course of the game, and I'm really looking forward to it. It has all the stuff that I really like about zombies, all the Easter eggs and side quests and all that stuff that we're all looking forward to. I just hope that it does kind of live up to the expectation. And I think the cherry on top of Black Ops 7 is definitely going to be the Cursed mode. If Cursed mode works out how everyone hopes it does, I think BO7 will end up being one of the best zombies we've seen in a very long time. But that is only if Cursed mode works out the way that we're hoping. And I really do hope that Cursed mode is available on the survival maps as well. I think it'd be really weird if the survival maps didn't have Curse mode. I think it will add a lot to the game, but as far as I'm concerned, from everything I see on BO7, even if Curse mode ends up not being great, I think we still have a lot to look forward to here, but I think it is heavily relying on Curse mode at this point. Yeah, this pretty much wraps up all my thoughts on Black Ops 7 Zombies and the beta. I might have another video coming out on the multiplayer, but I'm not too sure yet how I feel about it, so I might need some more time to sit on it for a bit. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I will talk to you guys later.